Dear human being, beloved soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. After a near-death experience, my perception of our human existence changed profoundly. I became more sensitive, with all our known senses. I feel more intensely, see people with different eyes, and often take a different perspective on life and our challenges. In my books, I share these altered perspectives and all the knowledge that has flowed through me since my near death and thus record it. For all those who are searching for something more, for the meaning of our existence here on Mother Earth. And it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge with you in this way as a supplement to my books. This season I am dedicating myself to my very first work, the basics of being. I wish you many wonderful insights on your path. Thank you. Love.
Dear human, beloved soul, the universe has given all consciousness a magic formula to help it on its way, namely, to be able to make one's own decisions. All forms of energy with consciousness have free will. It is a universal law. It is the driving force behind everything that happens in the cosmos, spiritually and consequently materially. It is the ability by which animals can decide to become human through a powerful impulse alone. It is the decision as to when we incarnate on the timeline of a planet and where exactly. In combination with the power of consciousness, which applies free will, it is the beginning and end of all impulses, all ideas, all forms, all being in the cosmos. Everything that is was once an impulse that followed a decision. Thus, everything that works great and consistently in the cosmos is exclusively the result of a consistent, powerful consciousness and its active will. Nevertheless, free will can achieve more in the coarse material levels than in the subtle levels. This is one of the main reasons why the soul energies incarnate. Free will, together with the power to act in coarse material, gives them more opportunities to learn and grow. To want something means to be able to decide. And to be able to choose, you have to be able to compare or distinguish between different options. Matter and its duality offers us exactly this opportunity, to choose. Duality creates the space in which we can compare, choose, evaluate, and, through all this, grow and expand consciousness. And where there is expansion, there is movement. Consciousness is movement. But the initiator of all this is free will. Consciousness without free will would be a rigid state. The curiosity and yearning of consciousness are the driving forces behind all being, but free will ultimately determines the direction and speed of these universal movements. A being that is aware of itself would be no more than an inanimate state without free will. It would be the same as a being that is endowed with the power of free will, but has no consciousness. Use free will as often and as much as you can. It is only here in dense matter that it is so intense, so concentrated and strong. Only here can it offer you the decisive chance to experience what you want to experience. Use it, but use it with respect for all life. Be aware of the connection and recognize your potential in it. Let us visualize together. Imagine that you are the person you are in your body, but your consciousness has a source of all being and extends through many soul parts like a pillar of light through the many energy levels. This pillar of consciousness does not simply end at the boundaries of your body. No, it also exists simultaneously in other levels. The task now is to use life and incarnations to become aware of this pillar, and thus of the soul parts that you all are. A little bit more each time until you have recognized yourself as a whole and become aware of yourself. On all these levels, in your entire being. You are the creator of these impulses and the craftsman of free will. Planet Earth gives us the opportunity to experience three-dimensionality, forward, sideways, and up or down. That is the limit of your body's perception and its senses. But if you begin to focus your consciousness, that is, your attention, In other energy zones, your perception changes. You see differently. You move differently, because the spatiality there forms different conditions. I call it the journey of consciousness. In the peripheral zones of energy, that is here, in the dense, coarse matter, consciousness is paralyzed. To rediscover movement means to direct and concentrate consciousness in such a way that it can still expand into other such levels. By expanding, however, I primarily mean that you can experience these other levels, that is yourself, in these other levels, because it is very helpful to be able to look at what is happening to you not only from the perspective of a single level. You determine the drama in your life through your point of view, and, along with that, through your perspective. The intensity and scope of the event are in the eye of the beholder. But the beholder can direct the point of view from which he looks, and that is precisely where consciousness begins to become flexible. I would like to describe a beautiful picture to you that has helped me a lot to understand what is meant by this. In this example, we have learned what happens when we raise our consciousness from two-dimensionality to three-dimensionality. The confrontation between two people is two-dimensional. And in the moment when you move your consciousness out of this confrontation, forward, to the side, or upwards, everything changes. The perspective, the distance, the point of view, the power, the whole situation. Let's imagine, for example, that you are being badly insulted and abused by another person. This does something to you. Your body and your mind begin to react. If you start to direct your consciousness during the argument in such a way that you would look at everything you are hearing from the perspective of the ceiling, then the abusive, hurtful words no longer have the power that they just did. In the next step, you look at the house in which you are being insulted from above. Then you can look at the city in which this house is located from above. Then the country. Then the continent. And at some point you will find yourself in space. From there, new and completely different views and thus insights will reach you. From this elevated point of view, the events in your room seem almost ridiculously small. You could almost lose yourself in the beauty of the view of the universe and the earth. But here on this earth, in this house, you will continue to be insulted. But now the place of contemplation has reduced the area of attack so much that you can react quite differently to this person. In the highest art, this would mean that you end the conversation nicely and kindly with this or a similar sentence. I'm sorry, but I can't and don't want to continue talking on this basis. Please come to me when you find less aggression in your words. What happens when you can expand your consciousness and consciously direct it? Then you can better control your reactions to certain impulses. Your consciousness becomes a playful tool that gives you distance and composure, but not apathy. Use it consciously. And don't forget, you decide how far you go. So you also decide where you direct your consciousness. My advice to you whenever you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation, or one you are unfamiliar with, is to take the time and direct your consciousness to the point where you can view the moment and the situation from a different perspective. Be aware that the same situation can look quite different from a different point of view, and thus have a different effect on you, within you, and on others. It is not for nothing that a pyramid has its characteristic shape. Imagine a surface that represents a square. In this square there are borders, corners, and lengths. You move within this square and will quickly reach its limits. And pretty quickly your thinking will be limited there as well. Your entire perception can only take place within this square. That's restrictive. Now it is your free will that begins to speak up. It demands that you want to change these limits in order to expand your consciousness and discover new things. But it doesn't work. And so now imagine placing a point directly above the square. You simply find it and define it. Now you look at this square from this point. Connect this point with the square and you get a pyramid. The symbol of initiation. Because a decisive step in increasing and expanding your consciousness is to look at things from other levels. The pyramid beautifully represents this symbol. Choose a situation that you would like to look at from different perspectives in several exercises, and then get started. Take your time and try to see what you perceive from the other point of view. You will see how your decisions change, and with them you and your life. Free will creates impulses. These impulses are energy, and thus free will in us is an energetic power plant because it can only create, focus, and direct energy through its existence. And it is these impulses, these energies that direct life. Therefore, it is important first to expand our consciousness in order to then set the right impulse with a multi-layered view of the situation, and by using our free will. Free will is the catalyst of your thoughts. Every idea, that is, every thought, that has followed such an impulse becomes matter. Every thought without will remain just a thought that is forgotten. A thought that is coupled with will becomes the power of thought. And this power of thought, with this constant will behind it, plants the seeds in the coarse material matter. All the energy that surrounds us is like the water that waters these seeds. Once you have given a thought within you so much power that it moves you, then this thought flower will eventually become a tree, just as everything on this planet was once a thought. Every street, every house, every book, every achievement of humanity, and even you, yes, even you were once the idea of two people. And even if you were not a planned child, you are the result of at least one person who used their free will to have you born. I can continue the examples ad infinitum. The only thing that matters is that you internalize how unique and magnificent the potential of free will is, and that you too possess it and can use it. Above all, to move your consciousness, because that is what will move you. So everything that is and will be has come into being because of this Trinity. Thank you for listening once again. Carpe Vitam. Thank you very much for listening, and I would like to remind you to join our community Spine. We are a community that wants to help you live a healthier life, practice your spirituality, and expand your consciousness. We help you find and connect with healers around the world, and we help you give your life a new meaning in different ways. We are Spine, connections that help.